and conversations. Real talk, real life, real faith. Coffee and conversations. Real talk, real life, real faith. Coffee and conversations. Real life, real faith.
All right. Welcome to Coffee and
And conversation.
Conversations.
Good morning, beautiful
Morning.
people. We are back by popular demand.
Yes. We are back. We are back. We are back.
Good to see you all this morning.
Absolutely.
We are back this morning and we've added 15 minutes on the end. There were people that wanted to share, wanted a little bit more time to share. So we know that the flyer says 9 to 9:30, but we're really going to do 9 to 9:45, and that last 15 minutes will be strictly Q&A where you can just share, ask questions. And so please make sure your chat is ready, not just for that, but just we want this to be an engaging conversation, not
Absolutely.
just between my husband and I, but we want you to be a part of this conversation and we want to unpack this. We're coming back with part 3 of Healing While Still Showing Up.
Yeah.
The conversation was so rich. We decided to go ahead and do part 3 because we got so much good feedback. So we're ready to unpack this. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this.
All right. And so we've talked about so many rich things with the last couple of sessions that we've had in regards to this. But this session, we want to go beyond just surviving the pain and focus on what happens when healing starts changing your mindset, your relationships, your identity, and even your boundaries.
I agree. I agree. I think the part that we miss is sometimes we're not even aware that healing starts changing who we are.
Hmm.
So if we're not aware of that, then how much more are other people seeing that? How are we showing up in spaces
Yeah,
when healing is shifting who we are? And like my husband just said, it's shifting our relationship dynamics, it's
yeah.
shifting who we are, it's just shifting everything we're connected to. So we're going to talk about the version of us that existed before we were healed
Hmm.
and what that version looks like as we're healing and then after we're healed and what that means regarding all those relationships that we're connected to.
Yeah, because that version of us that exists before the healing, sometimes that's the damaged version. That's the version of us
Mhm.
that as we're going through,
That's
and I
good.
shouldn't even say damaged, it's probably more wounded. You
Yeah,
know, that's
that's a
that
good one.
that's that version
Okay.
of us where we're wounded. We are trying to figure out how to heal and lick our wounds, so to speak, and yet still remain committed to showing up to those people that we consider to be friends or even family, and even those things that we're committed to. And sometimes that's the toughest part is showing up while I'm wounded.
Yeah, and then showing up while you're wounded, but then also realizing that you're not the same person anymore.
No.
Um, Recognizing the wounds, knowing that they're real, giving those wounds attention, but
Yeah.
then realizing as you are healing the
Hmm.
ing part of that,
Hmm.
you're also shedding
Yeah.
that trauma.
Yeah.
I think about a butterfly, and I think about y'all that know me know I love butterflies. I often use this as an example for so many things. But I think about the transformation a butterfly goes through, and there's a part where there is a shedding that the
Hmm.
butterfly has to go through in
Right.
order to become what it has always been destined to be.
Mhm.
So as we are healing, we're in the ing of that,
Yeah.
we are shedding. And then as you're shedding, you realize I'm not the same person anymore.
Right.
I'm
Right.
not the same person anymore. What does that look like when you're starting to show up as a different part or a different person?
Yeah, and that can be tough because, when you come out of it and you start going through the process, then you're able to look back and kind of see the tension that
Mhm.
existed internally.
Mhm.
Because making that shift is a mental thing. I think it's more mental than it is anything, making that shift. And sometimes people never quite get to that place where they get to make the shift because they're too caught up in their wound. They're
Mhm.
too caught up in what's happening, what's being said. And they miss out on so much, but God is wanting us to he's really wanting us to get to a place where we get a chance to just in our minds kind of navigate that.
Yeah.
And so in order to do that, it matters what kind of internal conversations I'm having with myself.
Yeah.
And getting to that place means that I have to either provide myself with one of two things. I either have to provide myself with either the convenient truth or the uncomfortable truth.
That's good.
And
That's
I
good.
think that's where the part of the battle really begins to hinge because it's motivation.
Yeah.
Their motivation. It's either motivation for me to stay the same and say I'm waiting on somebody else to change, or it's motivation for me to say, you know what, I need to heal past this particular place and really get to a place where I can be free, you know.
That's a lot to unpack.
That is a lot
Mm.
because who we are and who we're becoming is two different things. And we're
I agree.
always and every day we're supposed to be trying to obtain the best version of us. So we're always looking for that perfect you.
Right, but I think the part that we want to unpack is this new version of us is emerging as we're healing.
Mhm, mhm.
We're getting to know this new version
Yeah,
and trying to figure out this new version while we are introducing this new version to the world.
absolutely.
So I think a lot of times we focus, I think you just said this, we focus so much on the healing that
Yeah,
we're not saying, man, my priorities are changing or my boundaries are shifting
right.
or I find myself protecting my peace more
Yeah,
or how I'm showing up in these spaces is changing. I really don't care about the opinions of people anymore because as
yeah.
I'm healing, ing,
Mhm.
I'm realizing that this is something new and different even for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do we navigate that new version of us that is emerging? Because one of the things I realized personally, um, there was a shedding,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so as things started shedding, I really had to embrace the shedding,
Yeah,
but then also guard the healing.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's good. Embrace the shedding
Mhm.
while I'm also guarding the healing.
Yeah. I think if I could, from a personal perspective, when I look at growth and healing and the things that I had to navigate through in life, I think there was a couple of things. I think one, I had to have an increased self-awareness of myself.
That's good.
I needed to be aware of myself, understand that I had unhealthy relationships. I had to understand that I had emotional triggers. I had to understand that I was
Mm.
coping with different mechanisms. I had to
Mhm.
understand my own fears and insecurities. I had to understand the cycles of my own self-sabotage.
Oh, that's
I
good.
had to really dig deep. But then the next decision I had to make was, do I want to be healed or am I just looking to be heard? And I think sometimes, and we've talked about this a little bit before in times past,
Mhm. Mhm.
sometimes we just want to be heard. We just
Right.
want to be heard.
Right, right, right. I agree. I agree.
Oh, so when wanting to be heard, I'm sorry. So
You just stop. You
I
just
didn't mean to just
you
drop y'all
just
off like
stop.
that. I'm sorry. But yeah, there had to be a self-awareness. And that increased self-awareness is really important because self-awareness means that you're self-assessing.
That's
It
right.
means you're self-assessing.
That's right. And so as we're healing and really digging into this new version of us that we're shedding, we just want to encourage you all to embrace it, as
Mhm.
uncomfortable as it may be, as challenging as it may be. Um, you have to embrace it. And that's
Yeah.
something, full transparency, that I'm going through currently. And I realize that's why this topic is so important for me, because even though I am healing and still have to show up and noticing this new version of me, because
Mhm.
I'm shedding as I'm healing, um, I still want to embrace this new chapter.
Absolutely.
And I still am careful. Really want you to speak on the shedding and the guarding, because how do we embrace the shedding of this new version of who we are? But then the word of God tells us to guard our heart, for out
Mhm.
of it flows the issues of life.
Mhm.
How do I embrace this shedding? It's uncomfortable in some ways. In some ways, it's exciting. In some ways, it's scary.
Mhm.
And so trying to embrace the shedding while I'm still guarding. Because when you're healing, there's still a vulnerable place, right?
Absolutely.
You're still vulnerable,
Yeah.
you're still open.
Yeah.
And so, but yet you have all these conflictual emotions going on. So let's unpack that, if you would, Apostle. Let's talk about the guarding and the healing.
Yeah. It's and that's a balance. That's a hard balance because
Mhm.
it's hard to go through your healing process and not be moved by your emotions.
That's
It's
good.
it's so hard to do that. But I think the whole thing is you have to be at a place where you're saying, I want to get past this stage where I'm at and I want to mature into something else. And in order to do that, I have to be willing to relinquish or let go of the version that you see today.
Ooh, that's good.
Because if I'm going to change, then change requires that I show up different
Oh,
in all the spaces.
man,
I gotta
man,
show up
man.
different in all the spaces, and I can't. And here's the thing: you can be like Elvis said, you can be the great pretender, or you can actually sit in the seat of transformation and let it happen, so that you can become a better version of yourself.
That's good. That's good. I need you to show me the clap. You know, I always don't know where the clap button is at.
It's right there.
Okay.
You want me to do it?
No, I want to
Okay,
do
you
it.
do it.
Go ahead.
Okay. And so yeah, so we have to you have to just yeah, you click on that too. That
Right
everybody
here?
yeah, you got to click that too so
Live?
everybody can hear it. Yeah. And then click it. Do you play button, man?
Oh my God. That's love.
That way y'all can hear the clap.
Sorry, y'all.
So yeah, I think we have to do that, and that's so important because when I do that, and I allow myself uh to grow and to transform
Mm-hmm.
and to get back into those spaces and places where that transformation is coming, then I can show up differently. And now I can show up even differently to other people, and so yeah, it's tough though. It's tough. Did I explain it? Did I go in
Mm-hmm.
well enough?
Yeah,
Okay.
you did. I um just want us to continue to unpack the, maybe we can break it up. Maybe we can break up the shedding,
Hmm.
and let's talk about the healing part that includes shedding, and then we can go into the guarding. Um, let's do that. The healing part that really talks about the shedding, because in order to heal, you got to shed,
Yeah, you do.
right?
Oh yeah.
They go hand in hand. They're interconnected.
Yeah.
And I think that as we allow God to be Lord of our healing journey, everybody's healing journey and healing process looks totally different.
Absolutely.
But as we allow God to be Lord of it, you can't help but to shed,
Hmm.
because ultimately, the version that we are becoming is the version that God has ultimately called us to be.
Yeah.
And hitting and embedded within that version is your divine destiny and your purpose for being here.
Absolutely.
And so God takes us through a shedding, if you will, so that we can be all that He has called us to be. But if we're not healed, what happens is we try to operate in ministry, or we try to operate in
Man.
relationships, or we try to operate on our job, all these different spaces and places that we show up in, and we show up wounded.
Yeah.
And because we show up wounded, we are pouring our blood on people.
Man. Bleeding all over.
Yes. And so that's why the shedding and the healing go hand in hand. And so one of the things that God has really shown me through my own journey is the the shedding is necessary.
Hmm.
And even be prepared for some of the closest relationships you're connected to shift.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole word right there.
Yeah.
Being prepared for even some of the closest relationships you're connected to shift, because the shedding also exposes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead, because I can just go in right there.
And I think that's why we have to,
Wow.
and I know we're breaking it up. So let me try and stay on topic with this shedding. So, okay. So when we shed, and shedding is not a bad thing.
It is
I
not.
think sometimes we think, if I lose a piece of me, or if I lose something in the process, then I've lost myself. You haven't. You're getting closer.
Wow.
You're getting closer to your identity.
Wow.
And so, because you have to remember that of course we know that the enemy's out there, but there's a system that is set up that's supposed to prevent us from becoming.
Keep us bound.
Yeah. And so we've got to understand that my shedding is also me growing.
Mm,
It's me growing, and so,
that's good.
and sometimes, we think about the shedding, but do you think about what you're shedding? I mean,
Mm,
what are you coming out of? Because I'm picturing like a snake shedding skin. What are you coming out of that you've been trapped in, that has impacted your identity,
your
your
whole
beauty,
life.
your whole
Yes.
life? And so
Yes.
I think, we have to get to a point where we allow ourselves to get rid of some of that.
Mm-hmm.
What are we shedding? Sometimes you're shedding broken trust.
Oh, that's good.
Sometimes you're shedding a former identity.
Yes.
Sometimes you're shedding toxic
That's it.
relationships,
Insecurities.
unmet needs.
Yes.
I mean,
Oh my
childhood
God.
wounds. I
Mm.
mean, there's so many different things that
Shedding.
we're shedding and getting
Mm-hmm.
out of, and we're supposed to shed it. We're
It's
supposed
a
to
part of the
show up.
process.
That's it. We're supposed to show up new.
Mm. That makes me think back to that butterfly. Here we
Yeah.
go. Here we go. That butterfly starts off on the ground crawling. Well,
Hmm.
it starts off as an egg
Hmm.
on the leaf, and then it grows and it becomes a butterfly. But the part I want to unpack here is that butterfly is on the ground, first a caterpillar, I'm sorry,
Hmm.
on the ground crawling, right? And embracing. But one of the things that I like about the whole transformation process is the caterpillar begins to have an appetite to feed where it's going.
That's it. That's it.
It doesn't know
Yeah.
what lies ahead, but all of a sudden its appetite increases. Y'all done read that childhood book, The Very Hungry Caterpillar.
Hmm.
The caterpillar begins to have an appetite that supersedes its current place.
Yeah.
And it begins to embrace the appetite of what it is having. And so I said that to say there has to be an appetite for change.
Absolutely.
We have to
Absolutely.
want to change.
Absolutely.
There has to be a desire to change,
Yeah.
not knowing what's ahead.
Hmm.
We know that there is something going on in the inside. I feel a transformation.
Yeah, we
I
do.
feel a shift. I
Yeah.
feel the shed. I don't know what that journey of that process looks like, but this appetite in me keeps on coming, keeps on growing.
Yeah.
And so what happens is once we embrace this appetite, this God-given appetite, because as
Hmm.
you just said, it is ordained for us to change. It is
Absolutely.
ordained for us to shift. So
Absolutely.
like that caterpillar, that appetite is there and you cannot suppress it because it is
Yeah.
a part of your destiny.
Yeah.
I've gotten to a place where I'm just like, Lord, I know I need to heal.
Yeah.
I know there's some things that I need to confront. I know in order for me to be the best version of who you called me to be, there's some things that I need to put out there and call out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's a part of that appetite. So if we're going to shed,
Mhm,
embrace the shedding,
mhm.
then we need to have an understanding of how that appetite comes in, and it precedes the shedding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so that is so important because when we shed,
Mhm.
um, it's us changing value systems.
Oh, that's good.
We start changing our value system, which now, and I hope you don't mind, it opens the door for the actual guarding your heart.
Yes.
Because sometimes what happens is for some of us
That's
that
good.
when you really want to be healed, then the thing you understand is that the process goes quicker. But when you
Mm.
don't want to be healed and you
That
just want to
appetite.
be heard, you control the flow.
Mm.
And so sometimes when you should be in go mode, we're actually in stop mode,
Mhm.
because we want to be heard. But when we embrace that healing
That's
process
good.
and really begin to go through it, the process doesn't take as long as we think it does.
That's good.
And I would almost venture to say that sometimes we end up in a healing process for years because we haven't surrendered and allowed
Resistant.
ourselves
Right.
to really be healed.
That's
But
good.
at some point we've got to start letting our value system change. Because
Mm.
when the value system changes, your boundaries with people change,
That's good.
your consideration with people
Yep.
changes.
Yep.
You
Yep.
go through
Yep.
a stage of emotional honesty where you really
Mm.
start being honest. I think it was William Shakespeare that said, "To
To thine
thine
own
own self
self
be
be
true."
true.
And so I think we have to look at that,
Mhm.
and then we get into alignment. And so when we guard our hearts, then what happens is we don't get mad when relationships shift. But what
Mm.
we do is we understand that these people or this person is as close to me as they need to be in this season of my life.
Yeah, but we don't get mad when those
Hmm.
relationships shift,
Hmm.
but it becomes uncomfortable and
Absolutely.
sometimes very hurtful.
Absolutely.
And you don't and some it's so I think about an umbilical cord
Hmm.
and the baby being nurtured and fed by its mother.
Hmm.
And there comes a time to where that cord has to break
Hmm.
so that baby can learn to sustain on its own,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Outside of the womb of the mother. So, what happens with these relationships, to your point, sometimes we have
Absolutely.
that codependency, that people pleasing. And
Hmm.
when a part of that healing, a part of that guarding
Hmm.
is also a detachment.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's uncomfortable, it's hurtful to
Yeah.
the point to where we want to go back in the womb.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
So have you ever
See.
gotten to a place, and we want you all to be a part of this conversation. So please,
Absolutely.
please, let us know how you're feeling and how this conversation is resonating with you. Have you ever gone through some healing, the guarding,
Hmm.
and you just like, okay, I didn't know this detachment was gonna feel like this.
Hmm.
I need to go back.
Absolutely.
I need to go back in the womb.
Yeah.
I need to go back and attach myself to that unhealthy place that's no longer serving purpose out of familiarity, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or have you ever had to distance yourself, in order to
In
heal?
order to heal. That's
I
good.
mean, have you ever had to do that? Because sometimes, you go through a process where you have to distance yourself
Mhm.
so that you can grieve into your growth. You get to a place where
Mm.
you can begin to shed and allow your mindset to understand, and you
This
can
is happening.
right, and you can have that internal engagement where you say that I can mourn what hurt me without remaining imprisoned by it.
Whoa, that's
I
good. Wait
can.
a minute. Let me find the clap. Don't show me this time. I'm gonna find that clap thing by myself.
Yeah,
Don't
we
show
can.
me.
And that's so important. That's so important to do it. It's so important.
You're not supposed to show
I'm
me.
sorry. It's so important that we get a chance to experience that growth. You know,
Y'all hear that clap?
it's so important for us to experience that growth. But in order
Mhm.
to do that, we really just have to we really have to get to a point where we do that. I mean, we just say, I can mourn. I can
Mhm.
mourn
Say
it.
that whole piece again, please.
I can mourn what hurt me without remaining imprisoned by it.
Ooh, that's a whole word.
I can because most of the time the things that we're mourning
I
about,
got you, brother Toby. That was it.
that we're breaking away from are things that have plagued us all our lives.
Man,
And you
that is
can have
so profound.
a relationship with dysfunction.
Yes, we can. Yes. And you know what? And it the toxicity in those
Man,
relationships become
man.
normality
Yeah,
for
it does.
us.
Yeah.
It's toxic. But and I think about a woman in a domestic violence situation.
Mhm,
As
mhm,
toxic as it is, that's
mhm.
all she known. And she goes back and
Yeah,
she goes back for the abuse.
yeah, yeah.
Mental, emotional, physical
Man,
abuse,
man.
as toxic as it is, that and that's what we do.
Yeah,
That's what we do.
we do. We do.
Man, but I love that. So we can what? We can
We can
mourn what hurt without remaining imprisoned by it.
absolutely.
Good God Almighty. I'm mourning
Absolutely.
some stuff right now. Come on, come
But you're
on,
not
come on.
but you're not imprisoned by it.
No, I'm not.
And here's the
Why?
yeah,
Why? Here's the hook. Because I
you
choose not
chose.
to be.
Man,
I
and
chose the power of choice.
it's so much strength in that word.
Woo!
I don't think we realize the power that lies with it.
I
You choose.
choose. That's it.
We choose. We get to
Mm,
choose. You get to choose how to react. You get to
mm.
choose, if you react.
Get to choose.
There's a scripture in Proverbs, I think it's 15 and 30. It says, the righteous in heart studieth to
Study it
answer.
to answer. That's
You
it.
get to
Choose.
choose how you want to respond
Woo!
to whatever is in front of you. You
And
get to
not only do we
choose.
get to choose that, but we get to choose how much power
Man,
we give those situations in our lives.
absolutely.
The very thing that you're saying we don't have to be
Mhm.
enslaved by,
Yeah,
we get to choose.
yeah,
You no longer have the power. You no longer have the place.
yeah,
You no longer have the authority or the right
yeah,
to dictate my healing. That's when you know the detachment and
yeah.
the shedding is happening.
But I love the awakening.
Mm-hmm.
The awakening is when you realize, the moment you realize how much power that thing has been given
Yeah.
to activate and to operate in your life.
Yeah.
And
The
when
awareness.
when we get awakened, then we want to take that power back,
Absolutely.
and I love it. I love it.
That's good. One of the things that just came to my mind too is that um even in the healing or the
Hmm.
guarding,
Hmm.
you know how when you have on a band-aid and you just rip it off
Yeah.
and you like, ow.
Yeah.
One of the things God is teaching me is not to get so caught up in my emotions
Come on,
as I'm healing
man,
and shedding
man.
that I just want to rip it off
Yeah.
and do more damage because if I rip it off, I'm taking off the scab
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and the skin
Yeah.
that needs time to heal.
Yeah.
And so, one of the things that God is teaching me is allow me to do the ripping and the exposing.
Absolutely.
Because when I do it according to my divine timing. This is
Hmm.
God. But when we do it,
Yeah.
we're doing it driven by our emotions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So as we are healing, as we are shedding, as we are guarding, God's divine timing,
Hmm.
He is the surgical tech here.
Yeah. Yeah.
He knows the instrument, He knows the level of intensity, He knows the timing by which the band-aid needs to be taken off.
Yeah.
So I just want to encourage you as you're healing and start feeling good, don't you rip that off
Yeah.
because you're going to expose some things that are not ready to be exposed yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a very good point. It is so important for us to um, you know, realize that the healing is a process. And so
Yes,
you go through the different
that
stages.
part, that
And
part.
like you said, if we pull that band-aid off too quick, then we expose our wound and now make our vulnerability known before the world.
That's it.
And that vulnerability, that wound can now turn into infection.
That's it.
It's susceptible to infection.
That's
And
it.
so we have to really be just watching what we do, what we say, how we internalize, and how we emotionalize everything.
That's good.
A lot of times we go through things that hurt, but here's the thing, you know, guard your heart. Hold on to your emotions. Set your emotions and affections
Mm.
on the things above. The Bible says this light affliction is but
But
for a
for a
moment.
moment,
A moment is 90 seconds. Take 90 seconds out and give yourself 90 seconds
reel it
to
in.
let that ugly, ugly, ugly part of who we are come out. And
Mhm.
after that 90 seconds, say, okay, I'm getting ready to grow from this.
Absolutely.
I'm getting ready to
Absolutely.
grow from it.
Okay, it's 9:30, and as promised, we extended this 15 minutes to be
Absolutely.
able to give people Q&A and just really more engagement.
Hmm.
And so we're just going to dial back a little bit, and we're wanting you all to type some questions in the chat, put some comments in the chat.
Hmm.
We'll ask you some questions to respond in the chat. So we got 15 minutes where you really have time to really dialogue with us on a deeper level.
Absolutely.
So
Pour 'em in.
so go ahead and we'll just keep the conversation going. I did have some engaging questions here.
Mhm.
Uh, uh what okay, here's one. What does I don't know which one of these questions should I do?
Probably the first one.
Okay, wait, we got one coming in. I'm learning my vulnerability makes people uncomfortable and then it's used as ammunition. Definitely need prayer for this. Also, do you feel this affects relational people more than others?
Ooh, that's a great,
I'm gonna
great
take a stab
question.
at it and then I'll
It's a
go.
great question. Um, let's see, vulnerability makes people uncomfortable, and then it's used as ammunition. I had to read it again to process it. And
Yeah.
so, vulnerability does make people uncomfortable. And the one thing that I've learned with vulnerability is everybody can't handle your
That's
vulnerability.
right.
Everybody cannot handle your truth, your honesty. They cannot handle the emotions that come behind it. And so I think one of the things that we have to do is you have to learn your environment that you're in.
Mhm. Mhm.
You have to be able to discern the heart and mind of the individuals that we're
Right.
sharing it with, because everybody can't handle it.
And
Sometimes
is it okay to be
it's
vulnerable?
it's
What's
okay.
that scripture that talks about not casting your pearls
Yeah, for
before
the swine.
swine?
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we just so we have to know who we're talking to. And here's the thing, sometimes when we're hurt, we wanna get it out. We wanna talk it.
We do.
We wanna
Everybody
speak it,
ain't there.
but everybody can't handle it. And
That's right.
sometimes even those closest to us that are not in our core, but maybe in our cabinet, sometimes they can't handle it.
Mhm.
And so we have to learn how to take those things sometimes to prayer. Sometimes we perfect our floor ministry. Sometimes we have to get some professional assistance and walk and talk our way through situations
Therapy.
in order yet and I'm all for therapy. And
Mhm.
so we learn that to help us to navigate,
Yeah.
through those tough places.
So before you go to the other part of his question, I want to comment to Brother Toby about the vulnerability makes people uncomfortable and just
Mhm.
sort of tag on to what you just said. One of the things that the Holy Spirit is teaching me is I don't have to announce my healing.
Absolutely.
I don't have to, oh, I'm healed, or just start having all these vulnerable conversations of what God is doing and what I'm dealing with. Um, Even in the midst of vulnerability, there
Yeah,
has to be safety.
absolutely.
Vulnerability and safety go hand in hand
Yeah,
because what happens is the enemy will use people
yeah,
to try to pull you back
yeah.
into a place that God is taking you out of. So
Mhm.
it's very important that you be very discerning
Yeah,
in who you can be vulnerable with.
yeah,
So vulnerability and safety goes hand in hand. So always remember that because if it's a safe place, it's not going to be used for ammunition.
absolutely,
No, it's not. So
absolutely.
sometimes you just really have to take your discernment up a notch and make sure that that's a safe place
Mhm.
in order for you to be vulnerable at.
Yeah, yeah, and that's, man, that's tough. That's so tough, because
Mhm.
sometimes if you've never operated out of vulnerability, then yeah, people don't get it. And so it can be a hard place to navigate, just trying to make something palatable for the next person to receive it.
Absolutely. So do you feel this affects relational people more than others?
Um, I don't know. Um, Probably so. That's a really good question. It's tough, and it's tough because I'm probing all of it right now mentally as fast as I can. It's tough because even if you're introverted and you're not a huge relational type person, but you don't really engage like that, you can still sit in the same seat, but it's how you process that information.
And it
You
doesn't
know,
mean that if you're an internal person, that it doesn't affect you more. You
absolutely.
just process it differently.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is with relational people, they tend to say it right
Hmm.
in a quicker or faster way or
Hmm.
respond quickly because they're relational. This is what I'm feeling. I'm going
Yeah.
to share with you versus somebody that's internal. They
Hmm.
got to process it a minute and
Yeah.
just deal with it differently. It doesn't mean that one is affected more than the other. It's
Hmm.
more about how they process,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's my take on it.
Yeah, that's mine too. It just, it depends on so many different factors.
Mhm.
So yeah, it depends on a lot of different factors, but definitely stay in prayer about it, and always keep that before God, and again, I'm all for therapy. I'm all for
What? Better get
I'm
you
all for
some.
therapy, man. I am
We
all
big on
for
that. We are big on therapy. I
yeah,
love the questions. Keep them coming. We got a few more minutes.
absolutely.
Um, let's
You
see.
want to throw another question out there, honey? You were getting ready
Well,
to say
no,
one.
yeah, but I didn't know which one of these. I guess I can ask this one. Um, what mindset are you trying to unlearn? You mentioned something earlier about our mindset shifting and changing our value system. All that has to do with how we think and our
Yeah,
mindset.
yeah,
So while we are healing, while we are shedding, while we are guarding, sometimes when we talked about how we think, a part of your healing and your shedding is a mindset shift.
yeah,
The caterpillar can't become a butterfly if he still has the mindset of a caterpillar.
right.
He went from thinking about how to crawl to thinking about now I'm flying.
Yeah,
So I can't have a fly mentality or a crawling mentality with a flying body.
yeah,
Oh, that's good.
yeah,
So sometimes our mindsets, we have to unlearn some things that
absolutely.
we were taught, things from previous relationships. Even trauma has a way
Yeah,
of shaping how we think.
yeah,
So, what mindsets are you trying to unlearn while you are healing, guarding, shedding? Now, as you are going from crawling to flying, what's that mindset that you're trying to unlearn?
man, that's
What
good.
about you? What was there a mindset that you had to unlearn while you were healing? I know there were
It
several for me.
it was, I think probably the biggest one for me it was unlearning, but the bigger piece for me was which mindset am I trying to avoid? Because there was avoidance instead of trying to unlearn. But I know I needed to unlearn some things, and so I needed to get out of I needed to address some things internally that caused me to be easily offended.
Mm,
I
that's
had to I
good.
had to learn how to deal with that. I had to unlearn that mindset that um yeah, that what I say offends people, you
Hmm.
know. I had to get past that.
That's good. That's good. Got a comment. I'm trying to unlearn withdrawing from people who genuinely need the best version of me showing up.
Ooh,
Hmm.
that's good. That's real good. That is
So is he saying he doesn't want to withdraw or he's trying to unlearn withdrawing?
he's pulling away from people that he probably needs to be showing up. better for.
Okay.
Yeah,
Unlearning,
yeah,
unlearn withdrawing from people who genuinely need the best version of me showing up. That's good. That's good. So you're trying to be more relational, more engaging. Um, and that's the part that the people need the best version of you, that connectivity. That's good. Okay, got you. Yeah.
yeah. That part can be really tough.
You gotta
Uh,
navigate through that one.
Withdrawing
It's
from people,
fearful.
and it can be exhausting. And so that's one where you certainly need prayer. But in the same token, it takes a lot of self-help, it takes a lot of God help, it
Mhm.
takes a lot of resources, and you have to get in places where you're allowing yourself to be poured into as well.
Absolutely. And then I've learned that there are multiple best versions of me.
Absolutely.
And we'll get into that later. Because Brother told me the best version of me that shows up for my children
Mhm,
is not the best version of me that shows up for my husband
mm,
or the best version of me that shows up at my job. So I've had to allow God to teach me how to navigate through
mhm.
those best versions of me
Yeah.
that has to show up in a certain space. The worst thing to do is to show up and thinking that this is the best version of you, which it is,
Mm,
but it's not the best version of you in that space.
yeah,
Oh, that's a lot to unpack.
yeah,
And we'll get into that another time. So another comment says, I'm learning it's okay to say no.
absolutely.
Man, man, man. I have never felt so much freedom. Oh, he said that's clap worthy. I'll let him give me the clap because I don't want to mess y'all up trying to find it again. But while you're doing that clap, I wanted to say that thank you for that clap. I wanted to say that
All right.
I have learned, or I'm still in the ing of this, full transparency, that saying no
Mhm.
is so powerful.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it is, I didn't know how much freedom
Yeah.
and liberty was in those two words, those
Mhm,
two letters,
mhm.
N-O.
Yeah.
And it has bought me so much. The more I say it, the better it gets. Nope, I can't because this messes with my healing,
Mhm,
my shedding,
mhm.
right?
Oh,
And
yeah,
my guarding. So
absolutely.
guess what? No,
Yeah.
I'm with you. Oh, it's Pastor G.
Hey, Pastor G.
All right, Pastor G in the house. Thank you for coming, sir.
Yeah, that learning to say no is so, so, so important. It made me think about some song lyrics that says, keep on using me till you use me up. That's Bill Withers. And so
He
you
done
will,
went on some Bill Withers,
I'm sorry, I
y'all.
had to hit it. So here's the thing. Sometimes,
I know Bill Withers.
let me let me share something, and I'm not going to get into the details of it, but I'll share something that goes along with
Okay.
this because I really feel like the Holy Spirit is speaking to me about this in so many different areas of my life
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes what we're dealing with, Pastor G, is we're dealing with limitations, expectations, and motivations.
Woo!
And so what happens is that if we're not careful, when people find out the the oil that's on your life and how there's nothing too
Mm.
hard for you, like Christ, because you just make it happen, the expectation gets higher and the motivation
Mm.
is to always keep asking you to do things, and and it's to wear you out. It's a plan to wear you out. So
Mm-hmm.
no takes back control over your life and says, no, I'm not doing it. Not that I
Mm-mm.
can't do it. It's no, I'm not doing it.
Yep.
And so, man, that is tough. But you know what? It is that is such a powerful, powerful word. So you're in the parameters of power learning that.
And
That is
his wife
awesome.
is on here too, honey.
Hello, hello, hello. That you guys are, I'm telling you that saying no is going to restore so much more strength back to
Man.
just watch what happens.
Yes, and I've been challenged in that no because my saying no
Mhm.
has been just really challenged these last few months
Absolutely.
because saying no to people that I would normally say yes to.
Mhm. Mhm.
That was a challenge for me.
Yeah.
I had to go back into my healing place and
Yeah.
say, Is this going to disrupt your healing?
See,
Is this going to disrupt your shedding?
yeah,
Is
see.
this going to disrupt your guarding?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Man,
learning. This is real talk, y'all. I am learning to prioritize me. I'm learning to prioritize me, and it's so much easier said than done. And I know, Pastor G, your wife, as a woman, we can really just connect with this. We're always in a place of servitude when it comes to our husbands, our children, the church, the
yeah,
job, all of that.
all the
And
things.
so all of that pulls on you, and it's and we feel obligated to
Yeah.
say yes because of all that. And that's my love language too. Serving is my love language. And so it has been a challenge for me to prioritize
Mm,
my healing, my shedding, my guarding
yeah.
when doing all those other things is a part of what I love to do.
See.
But God is teaching me, I'm in the ing of that, to guard all of that. And it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to say no.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Absolutely.
It's powerful because this season is about my healing.
Man,
Woo!
that's it. My healing.
Y'all ain't
That's
ready
it.
for that.
Man.
Oh my God, it's 9:45 already. This has been a
9:45.
rich conversation.
Yes, it is.
Thank you all so much for showing up and just being a part of this. God has just really led us to do this, just
Mm-hmm.
to be able to give people a space to talk, and dialogue is definitely needed. It's just as good as for us
Absolutely.
as it is for you all. We're not doing this on a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like coffee and conversation
Just
pop
a
up.
pop
We'll
up.
say, let's do it this weekend. Let's do it this. So whenever we feel led to just do it again, just keep looking out. I'll make sure I post it the
Yeah.
week of and give everybody an opportunity. But thank you so much. Anything you want to say before we go?
No, thank you all for joining. We appreciate it. And this has been uh what was it? Showing up, healing
Healing
without
while
showing
showing
up.
up.
Yeah.
This has been part
Part
3.
3.
Now, we got to go out with our little theme song, so don't log up. Don't log off. I love
Yeah,
our
you
little.
gotta learn this theme song. You're gonna be singing it all day. You're like, play that again. Play that again.
All right, here we go. See y'all next time.
See you next time.
Love you.